Hi everybody, Josh Byerly here inside Mission Control Houston. I want to welcome Milt Heflin, former flight director, former leader of the Johnson Space Center. He is coming back to visit us today. It's been 20 years since a pretty important mission, STS-61, which was the first servicing mission to the Hubble Space Telescope. Let's set the stage here real quick. Hubble was launched back in 1990, and then once the pictures started coming down, they noticed that there was something wrong. It was a little bit blurry, and the images were not nearly as sharp as what they expected it to be. There was a problem with the mirror, right?
Correct, absolutely.
So then what happened?
Well, how are we going to fix it?
Yeah.
We got to figure that out, which I think we're really good at,
Yeah.
which we proved. If you think back to that time, we were in a situation where there were a number of things going on that kind of put NASA in a doghouse a little bit.
Yeah.
We had lost Mars Observer when it got close to getting in orbit around Mars. We were suffering some of the hydrogen fuel leaks on Shuttle, grounding the fleet temporarily.
Right.
And so it was, what have you done for me lately? And so from a congressional and a budget standpoint, there was a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And I showed up in my office one day. I actually got I'm not going to read this, but here's the actual piece of paper that I got, which is a page out of the congressional record.
Mm-hmm.
And don't know who put it there. I still don't know who put it there. But there's a paragraph in there that says, NASA, you've got basically one more chance with what's been going on. And so that painted the picture where we were starting at. A lot of pressure to get it done right.
So you launched this mission, and there was back-to-back spacewalks to go up there and fix Hubble. Talk about, what was the biggest pressure of it? Like, when did you know that, okay, this is going to be a success, or what were you afraid of? Like, what was sort of the thing that kept you up at night?
I think where it hit me was probably after our 14th independent review that we had. Because I was convinced, good people, by the way, too. They wanted to help us. And towards the end of this, it was like, they can't ask any more questions.
Yeah.
I mean, we're there, we're prepared. And in fact, I'll be honest with you, I went into the mission extremely cocky because I was convinced this team could do it. And to sit in mission control and watch it advance to where each day more smiles came up on the faces of the flight controllers and the people involved, including the Goddard team. And it was just great to see that. Yeah.
We just saw the shot of you back, I guess, 20 years ago running that mission. That was actually in this very room. Right?
Yes.
I mean, it's a little bit different now. We've kind of modernized it a little bit. But
and my hair's a different color now than it was back then, too.
So when did you know, like during the mission, we do these back-to-back spacewalks. When did you know, okay, we've done it, it's going to be a success? Was it at the end of it? Was it a wheel stop?
Well,
where was it?
Great question, because the very first spacewalk that we did, we had trouble closing some access doors on the...
Yeah.
And I went into this mission wanting to do one thing, and that was to keep a beat. I wanted to get things done when we said we're going to get them done and not get behind. And that very first spacewalk where we had a problem, it was, oh boy, I don't want this. We got to get that done today and not worry about it later, which we did. That caused me and the team, I think when we left Mission Control after that very first spacewalk, I think that caused us to think, oh, that's great. We're only one EVA. We got 4 more to do.
Yeah.
But by golly, we solved a significant problem in time. And as the next EVA occurred where we had a solar array problem and we decided we were going to throw the solar array by mission rules, well, typically you talk about that even though you decided you're going to do that.
Right.
We didn't talk about it. We just did it because and to stay on schedule, to get it all done.
Talk about just the task of having to do back-to-back EVAs. I mean, we typically don't do that except for Hubble. We had basically, what was it, 5 back-to-back
We had 5
EVAs?
back-to-back. In fact, when the mission started, I think there were like 2 on the books, and then we went to 3, and then we decided we had to do another and another and so forth. Well, that was pretty stressful to take the team and go through and do that. But the thing that it really did, looking at Space Station, was it did prove that we can do what we say we're going to do. We can do these things back to back. I like what Covey said at the end of the mission. He basically, Dick Covey, the commander, basically after the landing back at Ellington, he said we were successful because we had good equipment, we had good people, we had good preparation.
Yeah.
And
you mentioned Space Station. Let's talk about some of the lessons learned. Do you think, and we've talked about this before, but do you think that people looked at designing the space station and building it, and they're like, wow, this is going to take so many spacewalks, and it's going to take so much time. Do you think the learning curve was a little bit less with Space Station because of these Hubble missions? Oh,
absolutely. Oh, no, absolutely. We were able to put it to you this way: the things on Hubble that were built and to be spacewalk friendly. Worked great. Some of the things that we added to the mission, which due to budget cuts, Hubble folks weren't able to have them in a position like that. So we had to sort of design it on the fly or prior to the mission. We got those done, but they took longer time.
Yeah.
And so that's it. If you're going to go build a station, build it so that spacewalkers can assemble it.
Yeah.
And that's what we did.
Yeah. And it worked out.
It worked out great.
So last question for you. Do you, whenever you take a look at just how much Hubble has sort of become such an iconic thing, it's in the, I mean, people use the pictures from Hubble as their wallpapers on their computers and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you look back and go, wow, I was a part of that? I mean, is it still, even 20 years later?
Yes. And chances I go out and speak occasionally, people always ask me, well, do I think there's other intelligent life in the cosmos or whatever? And I'm telling you, you got to be kidding me. I said at the very first time we saw this picture from Hubble, which was a point in the sky where the handle and the Big Dipper came together, very, very small point, and Hubble showed this deep field view with thousands of galaxies. And we live in a galaxy. We're a solar system in a galaxy. And you're telling me we're all that's there? You got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
And that's what I think about when I think about what we did to Hubble.
Milt Heflin, former flight director, former leader of the Johnson Space Center, key part of the STS-61 mission 20 years ago today.
Yes.
Is when it launched and went up there and helped fix Hubble, probably one of the highest profile missions that the Space Shuttle ever flew. So,
well, Josh, I thank you for inviting me back to my favorite building in all of human space flight.
Never gets old, does it?
It does not.
Thanks a lot, Milt. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Right.